Hi everybody, Dan Illman, Matt Bernier. The feature race at Del Mar on Wednesdays, the mile-and-a-half Grade 3 Cougar the Second Handicap. Our stakes preview presented by DRF Bets. Sign up for a new DRF Bets account, access a $150 sign-up bonus. All you have to do is go to drf.com/bet to access that $150 bonus. Let's take a look at the field for the Grade 3 Cougar the Second Handicap. And Matt, your favorite son is in this race, the number 4 Opportunity. Earlier this year, you thought it was over for Opportunity. At the ripe old age of 7, you thought he'd be sitting at the old horse's home with a blanket over his knee with a couple of the other old-timers saying, "We were big once, we were big once." All of a sudden, he comes back, he wins the Brooklyn, a good 4th in the Suburban, and he's 6-5 on the morning line in the Cougar the Second Handicap. And listen, by far, he's the most accomplished horse in this race. He's banked $4.6 million.
Yeah, look, I still feel bad for saying that I thought it was over for him, because clearly it wasn't. He's still got a little bit of life left. At 7 years old, I think it's fair to say he's not quite what he once was, and you don't expect him to continue to stay on like this at the ripe old age of 7. I think you're at an interesting sort of point, though, in Opportunity's career where, he ran 4th in that Suburban, but I kind of feel like somebody had to run, with those minor sort of placings in there. I kind of feel like that was him being exposed that, maybe you're not that level anymore, but maybe you can win these mile-and-a-half races. I think you would kind of smoke that out a long time ago, where maybe this is what his game is now. And if that's the case, there's still a lot of money to be made, and he clearly hasn't lost too much. I think he's lost too much for a Grade 1 level, but he hasn't lost a ton.
I agree 1,000% with your analysis. The Suburban, someone had to run 4th. There was a big pace up front, and he kind of clunked along and finished 4th. He's not the classic division kind of horse anymore, the 1.125 mile horse that he was in the past. But in these mile-and-a-half races, just look at the field he's running in against. Mostly turf horses with questionable dirt form that like distance, and their connections are just hoping they get the 1.5 miles. One of them is 2020 Vision, who ran 2nd behind Opportunity in the Tokyo City Stakes 3 starts back. But he's done most of his damage on turf for John Sadler, who's been hot lately. 2020 Vision doesn't win very often. The most recent score, September of 2016.
Yeah, this is a horse that just his form, he has not maintained it. So again, this is sort of a tip of the cap to Opportunity for staying as good as he has for this long. You see a horse like 2020 Vision, at one time, he was a legitimate threat in Grade 1 races on the turf. I just think now they're kind of at a point where they're searching, trying to find a spot for this horse, and I don't think this is it.
Opportunity is the best horse on paper. The connections of the 3, Little Scottie, are hoping that pace makes the race, however, as we see with the Timeform US Pace Projector. Little Scottie is fast, and he is going to go right to the lead in this race. He's been on the lead in his last 2, and he's gone 1.25 miles, no problem in the past. Went in for the $40,000 tag. I was a little bit disappointed he got beat last time out, but it was his first start off a 2-month layoff, and he could certainly be loose. He's run some figs that make him competitive if they leave him alone.
Yeah, it almost feels like, I understand that was the logical progression going from the N1X to the N2X off that little bit of a layoff, but you could almost look at that as just nothing more than a prep to get to a spot like this, where, again, if you believe that he's going to be loose on the front end, lose speed at 1.5 miles. We've talked about it. Usually we bring it up around Belmont Stakes time. That's always dangerous. Having a little bit of tactical ability goes a long way. I do question a little bit, is the 1.5 miles going to be too much for him distance-wise, though?
No hotter trainer in the country, arguably, than Jerry Hollendorfer, who has just gotten off to a wonderful start at this Del Mar summer meeting, and he's adding blinkers for the number 5, Full of Luck, and also giving this horse a necessary class drop. No match for the likes of Accelerate or Dr. Door in his first 2 graded stakes races on dirt in North America. This is a horse that's going to try to stretch it out to 1.5 miles, and that was no problem. He won the El Derby in Chile at 1.5 miles on the turf. The question is he a turf horse?
Well, I have to be honest, at this point in the game, I kind of feel like he is, but really, at the end of the day, it feels like most of the other connections in here, with the exception of Opportunity, they're just taking a stab as well. And at least you know that this horse, the distance isn't going to be a problem, or it shouldn't be a problem for him. The blinkers go on. We'll see if that gets him into the run a little bit earlier. He's not totally without a chance in here.
Prince of Arabia pulled off a 35-1 upset 3 starts back, but it must be noted it came over a wet track. He was 2nd best behind Dr. Door, while no match for that one in the Californian. And last time out in the Gold Cup at Santini, just draw a line through it, he was 72-1 against Accelerate. He finished right behind Pavel, who came back to win the Foster with a 101. So class relief here. I am not worried about the 1.5 miles considering this pedigree, but if you wanted to have a closer in this race, wouldn't you much rather have Opportunity than Prince of Arabia? Not to be rude.
No, 100%. I mean, it is one of those things where you're going to have a horse that's going to do his best running from well off of the pace. I don't know if he's quite coming from last, but he's going to be toward the rear, and he's not as talented as the late runner like a Opportunity or even some of these other runners. The distance isn't going to be a problem for him, but really it boils down to, is he good enough?
Lots of changes for the 6. Deal with it, dude. Blinkers on. He's a gelding, so something off. This is a horse, though, that's won at Del Mar, and he's won on the lead in the past. There's a big question mark about distance, although I guess he ran okay last time out at this trip on the turf. I wouldn't be surprised if he's a little bit forwardly placed. And the most recent try on dirt was a key race where the 4th place finisher came back to win with a 90 and then again with a 104 buyer. He's a little light on figs. He's eligible for a non-winners or 2 life. It seems like a tough spot.
It certainly does, but I have to be honest with you, to me, he's the kind of horse, if I'm looking for someone outside of the contenders or the more obvious horses, it'd probably be Deal with It, dude, simply because of all the things you alluded to. You get the major equipment change, you get the other major equipment change, and he's been gone for a little while. This dirt surface isn't going to be an issue for him. Distance-wise, who knows? We'll find out if a mile and a half is too much for him, but I like that he's got a little bit of tactical ability. Perhaps he's one that's forwardly placed and he can sit off that pace setter.
We don't need to tell our friends at home that Opportunity is way the horse to beat, but we will take a couple of stabs against him at prices. Let's take a look at our top selections for the Cougar, the 2nd handicap. You like Unapologetic in this spot. This is a horse we know a mile and a half is not a problem, and Bill Sparr's just done a really great job with him. His dirt form, he's perfect, 1 for 1, but that win came a long time ago against maiden claimers.
Yeah, the surface to me really still is the question, and I know it's very easy to look at it and see he's perfect, he's 1 for 1, but like you say, yeah, it's a totally different lifetime, and it was against a different level of company. The thing that I've always loved about this horse recently anyway, he's just, it seems like it's kind of obvious. You go through and look at some of his races, 1.25 miles most recently, 1.5 miles 2 back, and then you go back to late and middle 2017 in Del Mar, 1 3/8 miles, 1 3/8. This is what he wants to do. When you let him go shorter than that, he's not nearly as effective. To me, he is the kind of horse that the distance isn't going to be an issue. He's in good form. I know that, and that's more than I can say about some of these other horses. And look, maybe he's not as good as Opportunity, but I think he's going to have that ability to get the jump on him. And if he can handle the dirt, I think he might be a decent number as well.
My top pick, Beachview, was beaten by Unapologetic on the turf last time out, but the last time Beachview ran on dirt, he earned a 97 buyer speed figure. I thought all in all a good effort in the Grade 3 Tokyo City Cup at Santa Anita in 2017. While the pace wasn't very fast, this horse was down towards the inside and being pressured every step of the way, and he was kind of forced to go all in with a half mile to go. He was in it until about the 3/16 pole and he tired. Those were some good horses he was in against. Hard Aces bounced out of that race to finish 3rd in the Gold Cup at Santa Anita with a 99 buyer. High Happy finished 3rd. He's come back on the East Coast as a big-time turf horse for Todd Pletcher. I think Beachview is going to be sitting off a little Scottie in 2nd here, and he's going to get the jump on Opportunity as well, turning into the stretch. I want to give him another chance switching to Bejarano, 12 to 1 on the morning line. I'll go with the 8 Beachview. Matt's going with the 2 Unapologetic, but our hearts are with the old boy, the favorite on the morning line, Opportunity for Bob Baffert. You can play this Del Mar Wednesday card from home with your very own DRF Bets account, a $150 bonus at drf.com/bet. Approximate post time for the Cougar to the 2nd handicap, 5 o'clock Pacific. Best of luck.